but
Feeling like a star, you can't stop my shine. I'm loving Cloud City, my head's in the sky. I'm solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, I'm hunting solo, solo. Yeah, I'm feeling good tonight, finally feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but an answer to, ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carbon lights off me, I'm living life now that I'm free. Yeah, time to get myself together. Now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy the carbon light is gone. I'm moving on. I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride. I'm heading out tonight. I'm solo. I'm hunting solo. I'm hunting solo. I'm hunting solo. Solo. Picking up my blaster, putting it on my side. I'm jumping in my Falcon. Whoopie at my side. I'm solo. I'm hunting solo. I'm hunting solo. I'm hunting solo. Solo.
okay, I can see you have some skills, but now it's my turn. And here we are.
And
Without
John, because he's celebrating the holidays.
Oh, that's good. I think I have us on Instagram, but I don't know how to check that.
Yeah, that part I can. Yeah, I wouldn't even know how actually, because I'm a nerd like that,
Okay.
or not a nerd like that, I guess.
Apparently, I needed some new stream key, so I don't know if Instagram's going. I don't know.
Well, YouTube is going.
I got a stream key from Instagram, and I don't know how. I assumed it worked like everything else. But I put the stream key in, and it says we need a new one. So maybe we're not on Instagram.
Maybe that'll be a goal for 2024.
Yes. So
just don't make me become a tweeter, X or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think I pulled all my whatever they're called now. I pulled all those off. It just seemed like it went the wrong direction for where I wanted to be in my life of social media. So Ken, what have you been up to?
So I haven't had any troop time. Still waiting to hear back from the fabric vendor for Heather's Bo-Katan stuff. When she reached out to them, I told you that she had ordered a whole bunch of material, and the organization said that the material we have has this big stain on it. Do you still want it? And she said no. And she followed up with them recently to see if they had more. And their response was, well, we still have this stuff with the stain on it. Do you want it?
That's like such a 20. That's a terrible thing to say, but that's like a 2023 of how places just treat customers.
It's like, it was very strange.
Yeah.
And even though this isn't costume corner, on Black Friday, they had a sale on lightsabers.
Yeah.
And so I got one because it was a buy one, get a mystery one. So I'm like, how could I lose? And I ended up getting one. And look at this thing. It has a feature. I don't know if you can tell. Let me see if I can turn the light off. But it goes red and white, so it looks like a candy cane.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's the coolest thing. And then it's got this flick. It's magic.
Nice. Now, is that fight worthy?
I'm not sure, and I don't know if I would fight with it because it also has this cool design element on the hilt that it's cut out this little part on the guard.
It almost looks like Mandalorian type.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah, so I've been using it to walk the dog all week
oh, cool.
because I've noticed that it's much easier for people to see me carrying around a 3 foot glow stick than it is to be seen with a flashlight.
That's true. And you're probably making someone's day. Some
I've
little
had at
kid,
least 4 people in the last 2 weeks pull over and say, "Is that a lightsaber?" Like,
yeah,
yes, as a
there's
matter of fact.
a kid, like, watching the window. When's the Jedi coming by? You know? Well, it's better to be known in your neighborhood as the Jedi that walks their dog, but you could be known as many other things.
Yeah, the guy who beats his dog with a lightsaber. That's not
Yeah,
that common.
yeah. So that's um so yeah, I finished literally like 2 minutes before I finished the documentary on the holiday special.
What'd you think? A disturbance in the force?
Yeah. I tell you what, that I would say for many, many things, um, every Star Wars fan could take a lesson from that
Yes, a
whole
million percent yes.
documentary, you know?
Yes.
Um,
I think one of our goals for 2024 for this show should be to see if we can get one of the people from that movie to talk with us.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I just was I was amazed because every single person they interviewed, because when I saw the list of interviewees, I was okay, now who's gonna be the villain and who's gonna, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
who's just gonna bash it? Because the holiday special is the Jar Jar Binks of certain things. You know, like, there for a couple years before, Disney and all that kinda stuff. Here, I'm trying our copy key. Before Disney and all that took over and the new movies came out, someone would dismiss Star Wars by literally just invoking Jar Jar,
Yes.
you know? And,
I liked Star Wars until they put that Jar Jar in it.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly what they would do. And so I just always thought, um, I don't know. I just always thought that was a cheap shot, and I thought the holiday special a lot of times was just a cheap shot, um, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and one of the things I really enjoyed about the holiday special is they didn't attempt to cover up the fact that it was a variety show. So it was something that was created at a different time with a different idea behind it. Um, and it was like every other show, every other variety show at that time. It was silly. It had, a variety of acts in it, both musical and comedic. Um, so if you were to put the holiday special up against other variety shows, on or around the same time, it would be a similar structure.
Oh, definitely. Well, and I think they made that clear too. Like, they made that, um, abundantly clear in the sense that, they were trying, I forget who said it. One of the interviewees said it wasn't the worst. You know, like they were talking, it's like they were like, if you saw X, Y, and Z, you know.
Yeah, and the fact that they actually had like Donny Osmond, someone who was known for doing variety shows, and Bruce Valance, who not only was aware of variety shows, but he was deeply involved in this specific one in the holiday special. They
Yeah.
didn't try to pretend. They didn't try to say that it was canon. They didn't do any of those things. This is what it was, and here are some of the ideas behind it. Because I think what a lot of people today don't realize is that that piece of art, that piece of content was created at a much different time. We didn't have streaming services. We didn't have VCRs. We we didn't have the ability to rewatch these things apart from being in the movie theater, and even repeat watches in the movie theater weren't a common thing, you
Right.
know.
Right.
So, Lucas and all of the people that were involved with Star Wars were attempting to keep Star Wars top of mind in that space in between the movies.
Yeah.
Because
No,
it's were there a lot of franchise movies at that time? Ones that had, when did the Death Wish series come out? And
well, I think the Death Wish series probably came out, I would say late 70s,
okay.
but I think it's a different genre. That was almost like I think well, Dirty Harry and Death Wish, they might have come out around that because I think George Lucas one time talked about how he wanted something to kind of counteract that, like fear-mongering movies,
Yeah.
you know? But I also think the, I think it was Donnie from Donnie and Marie, Donnie Osmond said in that interview something like, "It was all disposable TV."
Yes.
Like no one expected anyone to ever watch it more than once.
Yes, because they really didn't have the ability to.
Right.
And so we're lucky that here we are 40 something years later, and able to pull it up on our phone while we're, in line at Wawa for our coffee.
Yeah, yeah.
And it does, to me, it does not matter that that it's not canon. It does not matter that it wasn't fantastic and perfect. I still like it for what it is, and all of the craziness, all of the silliness, even to the degree of the musical guests and what they attempted to do. I mean, they attempted to take a band like Jefferson Starship and make them Star Warsy.
Yeah, that was well, and you know what was neat? The other thing I noticed about the video was I think, George Lucas's hatred might have been, overstated.
Oh goodness, yeah. And I think not only was it overstated, but it was just the well-known clip. If I could gather up all of the copies of the film, I'd bash it with a hammer. The fact that
Right.
that's all that you really heard says to me that you haven't really invested the time to find out George's side of things, and where it stands now. And I think it may have also been a reaction to the hatred.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, and
people were,
also Steve Sansweet was on that, and he said the quote slightly different. Um, he said, "All the bootleg copies,"
oh, that's a good point.
because so I thought that was kind of telling too.
And one of the things that I today am most amazed by, so you've got this piece of art that was created in 1978 that over time had, like you said a little bit ago, a lot of hatred, sent towards it, or you know, expressed because of it. Now you can go to Galaxy's Edge in Disney World or in Disneyland, and you can buy Life Day Christmas ornaments. You can buy Life Day mugs. You can buy a red like velvet fleece onesie so you
Yeah,
can look like a Wookiee on Kashyyyk in Life Day. They
yep.
have a Life Day cookbook, so they've taken it and in pure Star Wars fashion, merchandise the heck out of it.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, uh, the fans have I don't know. I just think it's kinda cool. Um, it was just a good documentary all the way around. I was surprised at the love, because when some of those people popped on, I was like, "What?" What are they gonna say? When they had what is it with the Bobcat? I was
Bob,
like, "Oh, he's gonna be the villain," you know?
well, there were two things that were really funny to me about Bobcat. Number one, and you wouldn't know this until I say it right now, he looks like my uncle. Like my uncle today looks like Bobcat Goldthwait. If you were to put them side by side, you would not, you, a stranger, would not be able to tell them apart. So that made me laugh. And then second, like, I grew up with the Bobcat Goldthwait's humor and being in movies and stuff like that. He did not really sound like the Bobcat that we knew.
Oh, no, I know, yeah.
And of all of the people in all of the world, why Bobcat Goldthwait? Like, what does what does Bobcat Goldthwait and Star Wars have to do with one another?
Well, and you know what I was wondering? I was wondering that too, because that was a it was an eclectic group of people, and some of those were old because, Gilbert Gottfried has passed away.
Well, Gilbert Gottfried, and the one that made me really sad to see was J.W. Rinsler.
Wait, who's that?
J.W. Rinsler in the video in the documentary, he's the gentleman in the hat, and he's the one that was famous for helping bring some of those behind the scenes book to
Oh,
life.
yeah. Yeah, he was with the gloves, he was all
Yeah.
bundled up.
Yep,
Yeah.
because he was in the end near end stages of his challenges with his disease. So
Okay, yeah, I didn't realize that.
yeah, so I think he passed away last year. But yeah, to your point, they had some people that they obviously had interviewed, many years ago, and they finally got all the bits together to put this out for us. And I'm so glad they did because I love it. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I thought it was very good, and I thought again, I wonder if when they started making it, they decided, "Hey, look, let's make this a positive one," and maybe that's why we had, like, I don't wanna say it was a weird mix of people, but maybe they had some people that just went the wrong direction of what they wanted that to be, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
'Cause
hard to say, or maybe it just took them a long time as to get enough content together to have what was it 90 minutes, a 90-minute documentary like they did.
yeah, yeah, I mean, it was good, it was like the interviews were all good, they had relevant people, um, it's just funny, but, the I listened to, today to get because I was like, "Well, what are we gonna talk about?" I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go home and try to watch the thing," mainly because we don't have a DVD or Blu-ray player anywhere. So I
Not
had
even
to,
in your
like
PlayStation.
no, because we have the, ones without the drive.
Ah, okay.
I have a Blu-ray, but it just nothing was hooked up, so I had to, like, hook it up and when I got home from work. But on the way home from or on the way to work, I was watching, or listening to, How Stuff Works, and their Christmas special is they always replay their holiday special episode,
Oh, nice.
and it's pretty good because it's a podcast done by who would be consider themselves Star Wars fans in the normal circle of life, but, like, in our world, they would be, like, casual fans if not the gatekeeper or whatever, but it's just funny to hear their take. It's just they just replay the same thing every year, so it's
Yeah.
because they recorded it the day of, The Force Awakens premiere is
Okay.
when they recorded it. So, it's just like a nice slice. I listen to it every year. It's always their Christmas, show. So,
There are two
good
things that I would love to do. I'd love for the three of us to either do a watch party of it or, a full blown episode on it because there is so much to it that a
yeah.
lot of folks don't necessarily um, understand or take the time to look into. Like for instance, those drawings that you saw of Kashyyyk, those were done by Ralph McQuarrie. Like those are Ralph McQuarrie,
Yeah.
pieces of art that he put together for for that show, and they ended up becoming, pretty famous past that.
Well, and I also would like to do is we should do a search of all the variety and that 1977, 78 clips of all the other things Star Wars did. Muppets,
Yeah,
Sesame Place,
yeah. So we
all
did a similar one on the forces behind Star Wars, and it was the Richard Pryor show, Donnie and Marie. There was the holiday special. There was the Muppet Show, definitely. That was in between um, Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back
mhm.
because Luke was actually on stage wearing his Bespin
Yeah,
fatigues.
yeah.
There was that. I can't remember exactly when R2D2 and C3PO went to Sesame Street, but they were on Sesame Street. And I remember Carrie Fisher was on Saturday Night Live, like she was singing with Bill Murray, I think it was, you know.
Yeah.
And that was just the older stuff. There's
Right.
been modern, like Matt the radar technician,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, where Adam Driver played that guy, that the undercover boss sort of thing.
Yeah, I just thought that was it was a very good. You said I'd like it, so I was pretty sure I was going to like it, but because I've been preaching that forever, that people don't remember what those all those specials and even the shows, like there were there like they act like those variety shows were like just once in a while. There was a whole genre of variety shows
Oh
every
yeah,
night.
well, Donnie and Marie is a perfect example, or even the Brady Bunch one.
Captain and Tennille.
Yeah.
What else do we have?
Well,
The
how
men,
about Hee Haw?
huh?
Hee Haw. Do you remember Hee Haw?
Which I think, yeah, Hee Haw, all those shows. I mean, we were watching, and then around here we had local shows like that.
Really?
Like you had like shows like Captain Noah and Captain Kangaroo,
I
and
definitely remember Captain Kangaroo.
then you had like Chief Halftown was a Native American who lived in the Philadelphia area, and he had like a half-hour show on like Sunday morning. Like a lot of those stations were almost like public access on the off hours of like Sunday morning.
Oh, that's
And
funny.
yeah, we had all. I mean, you had dance shows and all kinds of stuff coming out of Philadelphia, like Channel 6, Channel 10, and Channel 12. I think.
So, with
Yeah,
that in mind, going back to this idea of a show about those, do you think Soul Train would count? Because I think they did an episode of Soul Train where they had a couple of the Miko disco songs from Star
definitely.
Wars on there.
Oh, definitely. You know, I mean, that's what I mean. I just think it's it was just a different time. It was just we compare it to now. You know.
And the other piece to it, this idea of it was at a different time. It was before the time when there were the super duper mega fans, if you will, the ones that the purists, or the ones that are concerned about the story and canon and things along those. I mean, you had Star Wars, then you had this stuff. But you
Yep.
didn't even have Empire Strikes Back yet. So for folks to get all upset and twisted that this exists, or to say it's the worst thing that ever existed, they're being dismissive and overlooking the possibility of just the fun that was intended behind it.
Yeah, and again, I think if I had to take away new information, it would be that Lucas didn't hate it nearly as much as we all think he does.
Well,
You know.
one of the things that I hear often said about the Disney shows, and it doesn't matter which show it is, whether it's Bad Batch, the Last Jedi, or even the Ahsoka show. It would be so much better if they had had a plan.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Star Wars Holiday Special is a fantastic example that they have never always had a plan. Like,
Well, and it's also an example of if if you watch that documentary and you watch other things, on paper that could have been the best Star Wars ever made because everyone that was in charge was an award-winning something.
yeah,
You know what I
yes,
mean? Like how many award they were saying about that, how many awards that like the couple that did the dance numbers, and you had Def Jefferson Star. Just
yeah.
pick a big band today. Like if you built a Saturday Night Live and you had the top whatever everything building one episode, it would be the best one. So it's just
Well, and with that in mind, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he even said, "I made some great things and I made some not so great things." I mean, even George himself. Think about all of the movies that George has been involved in that many folks don't give two licks for. I mean, when was the last time you watched Tucker, A Man in His Dream, or whatever it was?
right.
Or was it
Well,
the Radioland Murders?
what was the he released an animated kids show right when
Strange Magic?
something like that, you know? Or you have like, I am amazed at the amount of Lucasfilm, the people that say Lucas is like the end all be all, which I'm one of them, but I'm amazed at how many people haven't seen American Graffiti. Like you
Yep.
said, and or if they haven't seen THX, I haven't seen THX whatever in decades. So, it wasn't it was cool, but it wasn't like it was never one of those things like, well, I think I'll go back and watch that. Now, American Graffiti was, but um,
Well, and they
but
were
I'm just
both built with different intentions behind it.
yeah,
And when you boil them down, they're both creations from the same mind. So it shows the breadth of his ability to create. He doesn't just create in one style or in one kind of story. Although both THX 1138 and American Graffiti had this piece to that involved escaping.
yes,
Escaping from the prison in THX, and then escaping from your youth in American Graffiti.
yeah. Well, and they also had, I mean, you could probably argue that they kind of fit roughly in the model of certain parts of Star Wars.
Oh goodness, yeah, 1,000,000%, yeah. And that sort of stuff still plays out in things today. So we've watched Andor. Many people have seen the show, and many people like the show. There are bits of Andor that have rhythms and rhymes with THX 113, even though the makers of Andor have said that wasn't a conscious decision.
Right,
It wasn't if they
right.
said I want to recreate the prison in a different way. It was they'd seen it, and it just was part of their movie making language.
Well, and I do think part of what George created in a lot of that is more deep seated in your psyche than anyone wants to realize.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like that's the way I kind of looked at it.
Oh yeah, there's multiple layers to many of the things that he's built, and you can watch it the first time and just really glance at the surface level stuff. You can watch it the fifth time and listen to the music that's playing at a certain time and see how it adds to what you're seeing on screen, even to the point of in American Graffiti. George used a lot of diegetic music, and what diegetic music is, it's music that you hear in the movie that the actors hear in the movie themselves. So, you hear the radio station in American Graffiti, you hear the Cantina Band in Star Wars. So, the characters are listening to the same thing that you, the viewer, are listening to.
And you had like Wolfman Jack, so you had him kind of recreating himself on
Yes.
screen. Um, so yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know. Again, I was very pleased with that documentary. Um,
And
more,
I think that documentary, just like the documentary that um, Ryan Johnson did for The Last Jedi, if you watch those documentaries and then watch the content that it's referring to right afterwards, it gives you a much deeper, a much richer idea behind some of the decisions that they make. And so when
yeah,
you watch it with a little bit more honor, a little bit more respect. You're not just looking at it for the things you don't like or coming up with reasons why it sucks. You hear the rationale and reasons behind why they made this choice versus that choice. And when you see it on screen, like, oh, now I get it.
right, right. Well, and I think the gentleman that passed away that did the
Yep.
books and stuff, he talked about context a couple times in his interview. Like, you can't look at any art out he said, "All art outside of context looks a little silly."
Oh goodness, yeah, 1,000,000%. And I think that's another thing that folks sometimes miss, that these things, especially early on, in the life of Star Wars, these things were created as pieces of art. It wasn't necessarily part of this ginormous money making venture. They were doing it because they wanted to share. They did this out of a desire to experiment, to tell stories, to be creative, to have people have fun with it. And I think, sometimes people today, looking back on that other stuff, they get a little bit too rigid in their thinking, too jaded in their thinking. Oh, they were just trying to, milk as much money out of this as they could. They were just trying to, sell more toys with it. And they can come up with 50,000 reasons why they don't like it instead of pausing long enough to really look at what they're seeing.
Well, yeah, and it is funny that the one, I guess he was the producer. He said we worked just as hard to. It didn't. It's not like we worked less hard on it. Like they weren't trying to make something bad. You know, and I again I liked it as a kid. And when it was out on YouTube, I was like, oh, I made the girls watch it when they were younger. It did seem slightly more bizarre, but I was living out of context too. But I still
Yeah.
enjoyed it. And I didn't remember the Boba Fett cartoon. So, because I'm sure I fell asleep.
Well, because it was on like 9 o'clock or something, wasn't it, when it first came out?
Yeah, yeah,
And
and
see,
I
I don't
was
remember. I don't remember watching it as a kid because when it came out, I was 3. So I don't. I may
yeah.
have watched it. I don't know. I didn't see it until much, much later, probably in my 20s, when I finally, tracked down a copy of it and saw it. And I've seen it, at least twice a year, every year for probably the last 6 or 7 years.
Yeah. Well, and thank goodness for the internet, because the first time, probably, I want to say I made the girls watch it 2010, maybe, and the copy was terrible. Like it, and I don't think it had the cartoon in it at all. So
I want to know who managed to
the
get a copy of it with the actual commercials that aired with it. So that means somebody recorded it somewhere from.
well, that they were saying that someone was saying they think the one of the pristine copies that are out there, they think it was an affiliate's original.
Oh, okay.
It's someone that worked at the affiliate, just either because I just know at work how much stuff just gets set on shelves and then thrown out like years later. I imagine most of that's the same way at most businesses. That's just like it probably someone said, "Hey, you're the Star Wars guy. Do you want
this
this?"
this thing.
And it's set on a guy's shelf somewhere, or it's set on the TV studio shelf until YouTube came around. Because I don't think we forget how hard it was to put videos up pre-YouTube. You
Well,
know?
even pre-smartphone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because it was, you used
So
to
yeah,
have to digitally convert it from tape to, ugh, like, so many steps.
well, I mean, and this is a little off topic, but kind of on topic. I remember in '07 when I started trooping, we would do an event like you do one of those events where people didn't realize you're going to be there. You might only take 3 pictures because there was 3 people that had like a camera in their purse. You know what I mean? There was people flip phones, but those things most people realized they weren't worth taking a picture. You know, with some of those old flip phones. So
My first digital camera was a Sony Mavica, and I bought it in either 1999 going into 2000 or in 2000 because I took it with me when I went to Australia for the Olympics. And it was it was this box about this big, and you inserted 3.5-inch floppy disks into the side.
I had that same camera,
I still have it somewhere in
and
storage.
it'll be a Star Wars prop soon. Hold on to it. It'll be
Yeah.
it'll be a data reader or something like that. Um, no, but I remember those because if you set it, in internal settings, you really couldn't put very many
On
pictures
one
on
disc,
one of
because if you
those.
yeah, if you made the resolution readable or worth anything, you might have gotten like 5 or 10 pictures on one disc.
Well, because I went through a bunch of my Star Wars pictures. I was just going through my hard drive on my computer and cleaning stuff up. And I have all these pictures on my phone that are 2-second videos because I had my phone on video and I meant to take a picture. Right? So I was going through my thousands of pictures, and I just like when I find one of those, I just tagged it. And then I started just merging them together into like 15-second videos and throwing them up on
Oh,
TikTok.
that's funny.
You know what I mean? Because like I have that, and I have 45 minutes of sound footage of my phone in my pocket at Chicago Celebration. 'Cause I was filming and taking pictures, and I thought I stopped, or I must have stopped, and then I started again. I stuck it in my pocket, and it's just really garbled sound,
Well,
you
you
know?
that's your white noise. You play that when you want to go to sleep.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, that's my con background noise.
My calming
Um,
con background noise.
but I think what I said at the beginning is, I think it's a lesson. That documentary is a lesson on how to be a fan and not hate on anything. Like like, it just you don't I mean, if you're an investigative journalist, you have to go and you have to, do all the stuff that the nitty-gritty and all the but if you're a fan doing something, just talk about what you
Well,
like,
and even
you
if you
know?
look at just that phrase, fan, like from what I understand of the word, it means you're a fanatic about something. It's something that you enjoy. And it just it I get the sense that there's a number of people who enjoy being mean or enjoy finding fault or enjoy tearing things into shreds in order to prove a different sort of self-worth or something.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm so glad that you got to watch it, and I'm even gladder that you enjoyed it as much as you do.
Yeah, it was good, because I was just it was sitting there. It came like whenever it came out, I got it that Monday, and it's just been sitting on my dining room table, and then I was sick last week. Like I was like, you know, little side note, all the parents out there, remember when your kids were sick right after COVID, you let them stay home? You could do that now too. I have kids with stuff running out of every orifice in their face, coming up and asking me questions, and I'm like, I knew that there were some kids that I was helping, and the way they were coughing, sneezing, and just touching everything, I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna get sick." And bam, did I get sick,
Yikes!
you know? Um, but yeah, that and then I had a robotics competition,
With the
Saturday,
new T-shirts and everything.
which
With the new
huh?
T-shirts.
Yeah, Team Gonky. We finished in the middle of the pack.
Nice.
Um, so that kinda kept me from watching it because I stayed after except for the one day I was so sick, I told the kids, "I just gotta go home and get some sleep or I'll be sick all day Saturday." Um, but I stayed after, like, an extra 2.5 hours every day for them to build the robot. Um, and, uh, and so, yeah, we had Team Gonky. Now they want Gonk Droid keychains.
3D printed.
That's what my they want well, yeah, they want them 3D printed. So I was explaining them the molding
Oh,
process. I
okay.
said, "Why don't we make a good one and I'll make it mold?"
Oh, then you can
And,
make them out of resin, right? At that point.
yeah, and then I can make them quicker. Problem with 3D printing is it's, you know, 3 to 4 hours per one, which calculates into about 12 hours per one unless you're standing right there by the printer,
Yeah.
you know? So we'll see. But yeah, the Gonk droids did pretty well. They wanna get rid of ours is Ro um, Perryville Gonky Robotics. That's our name, and they wanna drop robotics and just keep Perryville Gonkies, so and then we get to go show off to our sponsors, which is the VFW and the Moose Lodge and a couple others. So we have to get ready to go show off for them. So I'm going to try to get. The kids made a giant Tupperware container donkey in the. We're going to try to get that thing spruced up before
Oh,
we
that's cool.
go
Do you have pictures of
go
that?
to. Not yet. It's because it's literally like you got to remember. I'm not allowed to help because it's their thing. So it's that whole adage. Imagine if people who never saw an elephant
Yeah, try
tried
to
to steal
describe
an
it
elephant.
from just one piece.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's a work in progress.
Well, it's a
So
sight to behold.
I
It's it's a it's an exercise in creativity.
yeah. Well, our plan is to eventually have it built that it'll have a flip over door to that we can let other teams charge things. Like if they need to charge something, like make a big charger base. Um, but we'll see. We'll see how that. It's not very steady on its feet. So the Gonk droid itself is not a piece of thing that sits still. So
I've seen some people make like a plywood base, and there's pillars that go up from the base into the gonk, so they set the legs right over the whole top of the thing.
not a bad idea. Might have to try that. Yeah, I gotta. It's that's low on the list of my kids have to get some actual robot repairs
Okay,
done. So,
that's so cool.
but yeah, we had we had track malfunctions. Our tracks were cutting the track treads off. They were trimming the rubber like the machine, and it was throwing tread pieces all over the field. And the referee said, if you bring that back and it throws more stuff on there, we're going to give you a penalty. I was like, ooh.
What if you said it was part of your
So
design?
it's
You're laying a trap for the other droids.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, that was. I mean, I'm glad I watched it. I was like, that'd be a good thing to talk about because I don't know if John saw it yet. I don't
Yeah, I'm
know.
not sure.
You know, that seems like more of the older pilots of the inflatable Falcon.
I
You know,
consider us the legacy pilots.
yeah, we're the
The
legacy.
legacy pilots. We're the legacy players. Like we're the Han and Leia of this voyage.
Yes,
I'm not gonna say which one of us is Han
yes.
and which one's Leia. I'll let the crowd decide.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, I just we in my Star Wars club, we were finishing watching the back end of Empire Strikes Back today. We got right up to where C3PO was found by
Oh,
Chewie.
all dismembered with the
Uh,
Ugnaughts.
yeah. So,
And are they still liking it as much as they did when they started it?
I mean, again, I think it's a generational thing. A lot of these kids have not sat through a movie. Like I have students who have never been to a movie theater, just due to either just busyness or just cost or a whole bunch of things. So a lot of those have never sat through this long of a movie. They're the age of YouTube and TikTok. So,
And how are they doing
but they're
with just
liking it.
watching that instead of being, distracted by
Pretty good. I mean, the again, I have a third that signed up for it, so they're sitting there, and then I have two-thirds that might have been placed
because they couldn't get
because
into their first choice?
well, it's probably about half. I would say half, and then the other half, as long as they don't bother the other half, I just it's supposed to be a fun club. I'm not gonna like bash them over the head with Star Wars or
Yeah.
anything, um, but they do all right. It was weird because some of them had never seen the space slug before. And that was neat. That was, you know, so because I think because there is so much, like 10 or 15 years ago, it was hard to find a kid that hadn't seen Star Wars in some way. But now, since there's so much, and even so much Star Wars, some of them have not seen the originals. Because there's just so
Well,
much
and there's there's
of
there's a
all.
good chance there's a bunch of kids who haven't seen a live action one. They may have watched just the cartoons. I mean,
Yeah,
whether you're talking Rebels or Clone Wars. And
right, right.
I'm sad to admit this. I have yet to watch all of the Jedi Chronicles or whatever the Young Jedi Adventures. I haven't watched all of those yet
Yeah, I'm behind on those just because I keep forgetting because I just you know me and Zoe were watching them and then we forgot. We're gonna watch the was it Percy Jackson came out today.
Oh, okay. I thought that was later. I didn't realize it came out. Has Rebel Moon come out yet?
Nice. First two episodes
Oh,
came
okay.
out. I don't know if they're on Hulu or Disney Plus.
Okay.
I'm not a Percy Jackson guy, so but my girls love the books. So Zoe went through all that. Like Zoe was just an avid like she just read like ridiculous
Well, it was a
amounts.
great time to be a
Um,
young reader where they're talking about Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, the Aragon set of books. Did you ever read those? The ones about the dragons?
Aragon, I think I read the first one in college in my children's lit
Okay.
book. That
Yeah,
one.
because there was 4 of those, and I'm really
Yeah,
sad they didn't follow up and make the rest of the movies because they were fantastic.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's a good time.
And have you seen the latest Godzilla movie yet?
I have. Me and we went to see it. That was really good. That would be it. I forgot what the first. I totally forgot the original Godzilla, and um, and I just remembered how it was just neat to see how everyone banded together to defeat Godzilla, kind of thing. You know, and I say defeat in
Yeah.
air quotes. You know what I mean?
One of the things that struck me
Um,
about it when we saw it is just how loud it was. Like, it was really, really
yeah,
loud. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting
yeah. The
old and
music
more
was
sensitive to that sort of thing or what.
well. I spend all day with middle school students, so most movies are not considered loud to me. But I did like how in that movie, it looked like it had the same feel of the Godzilla suit, especially when it was following the boat.
That was one of my favorite scenes is when his head was just kind of above water.
Yeah, yeah. Because you could have CGI'd that and made it like perfect, you know, and it still had that feel like when he was with trains and stuff. It gave you that same just that little touch of a feel. I in Godzilla movies, even when I was a kid, I just never wondered. I always wonder why people didn't run to the left or right.
Always when he's yeah, directly in his shadow. Yeah.
When I was a kid, what I was like, let's go left. 'Cause I would always watch Ultraman, you know, and the people would always just be running in a straight line in front of the monster. Just run left. Just run left.
Well, in this case, I mean, the guy who went left, made it, and his friend there was literally blown away.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
to spoil it for the people who
Well,
haven't seen it yet.
well, yeah, yeah. Well, it is a remake. It is kind of a remake of the first one. At a certain point. It was neat though because it was like they took a lot of the historical accuracy, where I think in the old um, Godzilla movies they were still under reconstruction and somewhat occupation of the United
Yeah, because
States
it was
kind of
it was.
thing. So,
I
so
think the first one was only made 9 years after the dropping of the bomb.
right. I'm saying though, so they were. I think they didn't have the freedom like we have over here, to do that. So I have occupation money,
Really?
the American money. They printed up little tiny money, and if you were in Japan right after the war, it would look like little tiny, like American dollars with Japanese writing. I'll have to get one out next time. But it was because my uncle he was in intelligence in World War II, and he was over there for a little bit of the occupation after. But yeah, I have some of the occupation money from when we were
I
over
wonder
there.
if they're going to get to the place where modern viewers of Godzilla movies understand some of the cultural significance of those movies, or if they're just going to watch them like monster movies. Because as a kid, I didn't understand it. It wasn't until I, you know, grew up and paid more attention and nerded out and read stuff about them afterwards, where you found out that from what I understand, and I could be wrong, but I thought Godzilla was meant to represent the Japanese culture and responding to nuclear holocaust kind of stuff, and King Kong was meant to represent the United States. So when Godzilla and King Kong were fighting, it was Godzilla in some ways fighting against America and things like that. But I don't know if everyone makes those connections nowadays.
Well, and I thought this one did a really good job of kind of showing that the mindset of the Japanese near the end, because you had the guy who was a kamikaze pilot who didn't want to be a kamikaze pilot, who, you know what I mean? It showed them, you know, growing, like moving as a culture more towards less towards that, ultimate sacrifice and more of a communal, you know,
Well, yeah,
sense.
and this idea of you can provide more through life than you could provide in, literally throwing your life away.
Now I wonder if there's any older Japanese calling that film a woke Japanese film.
Oh, go woke, go broke.
They're like, nowadays they don't want to be kamikazes like we were. So
Dishonorable
I mean,
traitors,
yeah.
unwilling to commit.
I just think that's cool. I thought it was cool.
And I love the fact that they
I
they
thought,
they used, the Godzilla theme song and all of that kind of, because when that came on, that was one of my favorite parts when and
yeah,
that
yeah,
literally
yeah.
roared through the theater.
That was a good. That was a good theater. That theater. Penn Cinema. I hope no one from Penn Cinema is watching this. Penn Cinema they always have a commercial for their Penn Cinema podcast, and I will probably never listen to it. I'm sorry, because the one host of the Penn Cinema, if you ever go to Penn Cinema, if you're ever up near me and you go to it, you'll hear him. He has that fake radio laugh,
Oh, I know that.
and I can't do it. It's like that morning zoo kind of, because they in the commercial they always talk about, oh, and we butcher names, and then they get that fake laugh. I'm like, oh, well, I'll never listen to that one. I forget, like that yuck yuck kind of. No. But yeah, that was, and then I was watching it, and I started thinking of the Zillow Beast, and I was like, oh, I should watch the Zillow Beast episodes again.
Well, and
Um,
the
you
episode of the
know,
Bad Batch where it was kind of, Indiana
yeah,
Jones.
it's just so I'm just it's a good time to be a fan.
Yes,
The
it's a good time to enjoy things, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
And it looks like we've got, much more to enjoy in the coming year, both from this show, but also from the stuff that Disney's
yeah,
going to share with us.
which I know we have to do our New Year show and do a bunch of wrap up, get our butts in gear, but we have. I don't think I think I saw somewhere where Andor is going to get pushed
Okay, to 2025.
2025, but I thought it was going to be 2025 anyway. So you know, but I think we're going to get the Acolyte,
Well, the other rumor that I
and
read recently is that season 3 of The Mandalorian isn't going to be a series, that there's the possibility, and here we are in rumor territory. Yeah, season 4, sorry. Season 4 is rumored to be a movie instead of a series.
yeah, I heard that. Except the people I know that might be working on it are getting ready to film a series. So I'm gonna go by those sources at the moment. Now they might not know any more than you and I, but they're like, yeah, we're getting ready to start this. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna. Um, that would be silly, I think. Like that sounds like one of those things that someone spun the wheel of rumors. Like there's a guy on YouTube or on TikTok that does it. He did a good rendition of the negative Star Wars YouTubers and
Oh, really?
podcasters, and he was joking around, and he had a wheel or something, and he spun it, and it was just like a bunch of words, and then they just made up a story. You know what I mean? And it was like like the first spin was like Kathleen Kennedy, something something, Dave Filoni, and they were like, and then they just made a whole storyline based on that. You know? Well, no, I mean, I just think like I understand why people would say that, but I'm thinking if your subscription model is what you're trying to push, and your show that basically puts your subscription service on the map, why would you do a movie that people could rent it for 1 month and then shut it off? You know what I mean? That's my bottom line, basic, not knowing anything mentality thoughts on that.
Well, I don't know if it was going to be a movie on Disney Plus. I thought it was going to be a movie in the theaters because
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like because it is funny. We're still getting the poor actors and the actor, all the striking people are going to be blamed for everything that goes wrong for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? Because then they're saying, like I saw articles and things being written that Disney Plus doesn't make any money. Disney Plus is losing money. and Disney Plus is this. You know what I mean? Like they're already starting to like set the table of the poor, oh woe is me higher ups, you know. And
Well, even I mean, it seemed like they were somewhat quick to go from the streaming, just streaming, plain old streaming, to the streaming with ads. So
yeah,
I never sat at the boardroom when all these meetings were going on, so I really have no insider information to base what I'm about to say on. It's just random thoughts that go through my head. I think that may have been in in their pocket the whole time.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. And now they have they can say, well, look, those writers cost us, you know. And honestly, I wouldn't mind ads, but I feel like saying to them, can you at least give me 3 different ads when you give me 3 minutes of ads? Because there's sometimes you'll get 3 ads that are the exact same ad, you know?
Well, to me, I don't understand why there would be need to be ads on there if it's something you're subscribing to. I'm already
Right.
unless it's because the and I don't know how the business works. So the ad mean that it's an outside thing, or are they advertising other Disney stuff?
Well, I see, I had Hulu with ads for a little while, and it was mostly not inside Hulu
Okay,
stuff. It was it was like, medicine and just like every normal
okay,
TV. The only type I had what made me switch to no ads for Hulu was it would be the same ad 3 times in a row. Like, literally, like, you get a block of 3 ads, and it would be the same exact ad 3 times in a
gotcha.
row. And I was like, that was, like, abuse. I was like but I won't go with no ads because I forgot in my I'm on the yearly subscription of Disney Plus, and I always like, the day after it bills, I'm like, "Oh, crap," you know? So, I'm just like, "Okay, I have Disney Plus." I mean, it's if all these streaming services go back to ads, it that might be the death of streaming services. It might just you might just go back to, like, other companies picking up the show, you know what I mean? Like, that might it just might change streaming. I don't know,
Well, it
you
is
know?
interesting how one of the reasons we went to streaming is because folks were fed up with how the cable system worked.
Right,
You'd have to pay X amount of money for things that you didn't necessarily want, or things that you didn't necessarily watch. So you had to, pay for ESPN in order to get this thing, or pay for this package to get HBO and Showtime, whatever. And then so folks started going to these streaming things where I'm going to get Disney Plus, and then it's Disney Plus and Apple TV, then it's Disney Plus, Apple TV, and Hulu, Disney Plus, Apple TV, Hulu, Paramount. You know,
yeah,
so what you were attempting to get away from paying all this money for cable service, you're now paying it plus whatever, with all these
right.
different streaming things.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, like, if all these streaming services make you have to have ads, people might just be like, "Look, I might as well just go back to, like, a cable service," you know?
Yeah.
But
Unless those things that
anyway,
they put on streaming that they don't play on the cable service,
yeah,
which is a distinct possibility.
yeah.
But it's a weird,
But
weird time.
yeah, but look, we're at the almost 1 hour mark, and I was worried we weren't gonna have anything to talk about. So I would highly
You don't
recommend
know us
anyone
very well, do you?
I would highly recommend anyone watching this or listening to this to go out and watch that video. What's Disturbance in the Force? Is that
A
what it's called?
disturbance of the force. Yep.
Yeah. Get if you can watch it, I think you can rent it on
Amazon, I
Amazon?
believe. Yep.
Rent it on Amazon or buy it if you want physical media. Um, it's well worth it. It'll make you smile. Um,
And it's
and
perfect for the holiday season.
yeah. And Ken, where can people find you and what upcoming stuff do you have?
So when I'm not here on the Falcon, you can find me occasionally on the forces behind Star Wars. I recently put up a Flashback Friday episode when we were able to talk with the guys from Kenner. I'm also on a show, the solo show called The Rambling Star Wars Fan. I'm getting ready to build, and I know I talk a lot about things I'm getting ready to do, and I just haven't done it yet. I want to do a year in review, and preparing for 2024 because I have some fun ideas for 2024. I want to see if I can make the Rambling Star Wars fan a little bit um, more consistent, a little bit more exciting. I've got some ideas for some digital things, some images that I want to share, and then some. I might even start hosting some video podcasts of the Rambling Star Wars fan. And with your help, I'm hoping to get all of our Rambling Star Wars fan episodes up on YouTube in 2024. In terms of future stuff, in additional future stuff, I was recently a guest on a show called the Bantha Milk Podcast, and that's going to be released in early 2024. It was super fun. I was so excited that they wanted to have me on. We did a roundtable discussion. I'm not going to get any spoilers in terms of what we talked about, but I will say the holiday special was mentioned in that
Nice,
roundtable discussion, and they call it a round the Dejeric table. So it's
nice.
four people. Each person asks a question, and everybody has to answer. And it was a really fun show.
I might not be able to watch it since I'm dairy free. No, do they have a soy?
Well, actually, bantha milk, from what I understand, if you get it in Galaxy's Edge, it is a non dairy beverage.
Yeah, no, I did get it. Yes, I cool. Well, that's good. I mean, it had now. So this goes back to our many discussions of podcasting. Do you think we can get some of them on our show?
I think so, absolutely. There's they're super cool, super nice guys, and they're close to us.
Oh, really?
So yeah, they're in New Jersey.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So the answer to your question, can we get them on the show? Absolutely. I think it's a possibility. And
Nice.
I think it's their show and their attitudes towards Star Wars are very similar to ours in terms of they enjoy stuff, they like talking about stuff, they like making stuff. They seem like really great guys, and the fact that they wanted to have a random stranger like me on their show, says a lot about their choice in friends. So
It also says they know how podcasts work. I'm 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 getting tired of podcasts not having other podcasters on. That's my soapbox for podcasting. Um, so, but
yeah, so
yeah,
Rob and Tom from the Bantha Milk podcast, they were fantastic. They had myself and another special guest that I'm not going to reveal here. I'll let it come out when it comes out. And it was, like I said, it was really cool, really fun. I'm so glad I
nice,
was able to do it last night.
cool.
How about you? What are the things you have going on?
I have this show, uh, and I still want to get Cast back off. I just can't. It's just one of those things. I just got to get moving on. And Zoe's podcast, Star Wars Geek Girl. I'm not sure when her and Lizzie are going to both start up. They're both at that point in life where searching and working on career stuff is kind of in the more important realm in their eyes. I don't know if I agree with them, but hey, it's just me. Um, but yeah, you can find me here. And
How about on TikTok? What's your TikTok handle?
the hidden Star Wars Hinton Star Wars family, same thing. TikTok. I've been doing a few little things in there, but I'm gonna again. I'm in the same boat as you in the sense that I want to push on 2024. I just want to get back to building more things. I want to do a run. I want to get us a helmet, which segues into our next thing. Um, I want to do a helmet giveaway for our inflatable Falcon GoFundMe, and I just picked up a Royal Guard mold, and it is nicer than I expected.
That's
So
awesome.
um, hopefully, I get at least one warm day. I have enough. I have enough resin that I can probably pour at least one helmet over break, um, just to see what it comes out and how it looks, and then we can go from there. But I'd like to do a couple runs of helmets just to get myself back into making things. I just missed that part. It's just easy. You know how it is. It's like that's like this. It's sometimes the stuff you really like gets pushed back
Yes,
because
for a
um,
variety of reasons, whether it's life or I get distracted by the other shiny thing.
yeah, and I'm trying to narrow my shiny things down, um, to do less things better than more things. And do the things I really enjoy, and not be bogged down with the little stuff. But this show is definitely not one of the little things. It's again, it's one of those things where I just want to get like do more for this show, do more for Zoe's show, John's show, the Beskar Bucket. Um, John is out on his secret mission of Life Day celebration because you can celebrate Life Day pretty much any time, just due to all the different rotations of planets. It's Life Day. You know how they say it's five
5
o'clock
o'clock somewhere.
somewhere.
It's Life Day somewhere.
Life Day somewhere. Um, but thank you for. We at least had one person stick on. So I don't know if my wife fell asleep watching this, um, but I'm going to do our outro, and then you and I can talk.
Awesome. Happy holidays, everybody. We'll
Happy
see you.
holidays again. And if you can watch, watch that show, the if you can watch it, I would highly recommend.
And tell us what you think of it. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it. See if we're off base or if we
Yeah,
properly captured its magic.
maybe we need a round table coming up.
Well, I've talked about having a Star Wars debate club.
Yeah,
We could put out a topic and then the three of us can debate that topic from three different vantage points. Not from the perspective that we're trying to convince the other people of our thoughts, but just sharing what our thoughts are on that topic.
yep.
Like for
Or at
instance,
least, yeah,
is bantha milk good for you? Yes, no, or maybe.
right. All right.
I used to put my faith in starships, but then my Falcon's hyperdrive just slipped. I used to worry about the future, but then I threw my caution to the wind. I had no reason to be carefree. No, until I took a trip to the treetop side of town. Yeah. You know, I heard that wicked rhythm. Hey, I had no choice but to get down, dance. Woo! There's nothing left for me to do but dance. All these bad times I'm going through, just dance. Got cash shaking my heels tonight, baby.
No disrespect to my man here, but you ready for the real deal superstar?
I feel the thunder, see the lightning. I know this Wookiee has a scent, so I've got to hang out all my hang-ups. Because of this Wookiee, I feel so hell-bent. Hey, it's just an instant gut reaction that I got. I know I never ever felt like this before. I don't know what to do, but then that's nothing new. Stuck in this jungle, black water, I need a cure to make it through. Hey, dance, yeah. There's nothing left for me to do but dance. All these bad times I'm going through, just dance, yeah. Got cash shaking my heels tonight, baby. You know I got cash shaking my heels. Hey, Chewie, let the music play. I'm gonna live this party life. Hey, Chewie, throw my cares away. I'm gonna live this party life. Hey, Chewie, let the music play. I'm gonna live this party life. Hey, Chewie, throw my cares away. I'm gonna live this party life. Dance. You know this Wookiee is for dance. So let's get shaky. Dance. Gonna dance my blues away tonight. Dance. So let's get shaky.
Nice! Very nice. Cloud City could use someone